What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 8, Episode 4, Keep My Wife's Name Out of Your Mouth. So let's get started with Kimmy. So Kimmy's in her office. She's on her phone with her friend slash architect because she is in the process of building up a new restaurant. I don't know if the restaurant is for her. I don't think it is. I think she's a contractor probably for this restaurant. And so she's on the phone with her architect, and while she's talking to her architect, Letitia shows up. So when Letitia shows up, the two of them start talking about this restaurant that Kimmy is building. Evidently, Marceau is... maybe he's the general. I don't know what's going on, y'all, but it seems like Kimmy and Marceau are in business together to build this new restaurant. And Kimmy talks about how she did not want this business that they're in together to interfere with her personal relationship with Marceau and Letitia. And Letitia was like, well, as long as, you stay within budget or whatever, we should all be fine. I don't know what I have no idea what they're talking about. So I must have missed something in the previous episode, or I missed something in this conversation, but it seems like Kimmy and Marceau are in business together to build this restaurant, and Kimmy was worried about, because they were in business together, that this might affect their personal relationship. Moving on from there. So Destiny then shows up, and Kimmy wanted to talk to Destiny about how her and Letitia met up with Sunny. She wanted to tell Destiny herself that they did have this meeting with Sunny. She didn't want Destiny to hear this from anybody else, and so they tell her, we met up with Sunny and we talked about the whole situation between you and her and Moses, and Sunny really did downplay y'all's friendship. And of course, Destiny wants to make it look like her and Sunny were the best of friends. They were closer than close, and that this was like a huge betrayal on their part. So in her confessional, though, Kimmy had implied that she tended to believe Sunny more than Destiny when it came to how deep their friendship was. I don't know what to believe. I think the reason why Kimmy said she tended to believe Sunny more, that the friendship wasn't that deep, was because of the fact that when Sunny, I guess, was working with them, she really tried to keep it very professional, and maybe Kimmy did not witness them having some kind of super duper close relationship, close friendship. She only just saw them being very professional with one another. And yes, you do become close to your producers, but I guess for Kimmy, it wasn't to the point where, the friendship overtook, or the friendship was more than their professional relationship. So they also tell Destiny that they met up with Melody, and that, Melody was sympathetic towards Destiny about what happened to her, Moses leaving her to go be with Sunny. Melody did feel for Destiny. But in Letitia's confessional, she said that she wasn't going to tell Destiny that Melody had hinted that there was something going on between Destiny and Martell, or that there had been something going on between Destiny and Martell, that she wasn't going to tell Destiny about that because she felt like, her purpose as Destiny's friend was to uplift her and cheer her up and not bring her down. So moving on from there. So Tisha tells us, so Kimmy wants them all to somehow, at some point, she wants everybody to have a conversation about their issues. She wants Destiny and Sunny to have a conversation, and she also wants Letitia to have a conversation with Stormy. And so, I don't know, I guess she's going to plan some type of get together. I don't know, y'all, what's going on with that. But she does want them to have a conversation. And she asked, Kimmy asked Destiny and Letitia, like, if y'all were to see, the people that you're having beef with, could y'all get along? And basically, Destiny was like, look, if they don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. So I'm going to keep it cool as long as they keep it cool. Moving on from there, Martell. So Martell meets up with Nell. And at first, Nell starts off by saying that, I felt really bad when Melody, filed those charges against you and you got arrested. I felt really bad for you. But then when I had a conversation with Melody, she kind of broke it down to me. And she told me that you were basically trying to commit revenge porn against her by disseminating this very private video of you and her. And Martell denied it. He was like, there was no video. It wasn't no audio, video. And then he talked about how Melody kept on bullying him. And then Nell says something like, well, y'all need to stop this, tick for tack thing that y'all got going on, because it's like when one person does something, the other person has to respond. And then it just keeps on going back and forth between the two of you. Martell was like, no, it's not like that. She's the one that'll do something and she'll do something else and she'll do something else. And then when I get tired of being bullied, that's when I respond. So of course, Martell is always trying to make himself look like the victim. Now, one thing that I can say about Martell and Melody and their relationship post-divorce is that they push each other's buttons. Like if one person does something, the other person will always react. Like they don't have the capability of just ignoring what their ex is doing. Now, of course, if it's on the level of Martell sending out revenge porn, obviously Melody has to respond to that. I mean, there's no question about that. But everything else, like whenever they would be in the same room together, they would always get into these really bad, horrible, heated arguments. Whenever they're with their friends, they always got to bring up their ex and talk about the latest thing that their ex did to them. They cannot leave each other alone as far as, just really totally ignoring the other person. If Melody says something about Martell, Martell has to say something back and vice versa. They do that. They push each other's button. And whenever they are in the same room together, it's going to be World War III regardless. Like no matter what, they're going to argue. They can't just ignore each other. They cannot keep it civil or copacetic. It's always going to be an argument if Martell and Melody are in the same room. They don't have the capability of just ignoring the other person. So Nell is like, well, what is it? What did she say? Let me stay on track here. So Nell tells him, Nell tells him that, in order for them to reach any kind of, So Mel tells him that him and Melody need to stop the whole tick for tack thing. And then the conversation quickly turns to Nell and Chris. They talk about Nell and Chris and their issues. I don't know how Martell is involved with Nell and Chris and the stepdaughter saying that Nell was the side chick. I don't know how Martell plays into all of this, but or even if he does, I don't know. But I didn't understand how this conversation started between the two of them. Like, where's this conversation coming from? But anyways, so Nell was like, she says that, she was not Chris's side chick. First, she said that Chris was separated and that he had the divorce papers were already filed. Then she said that when she found out that Chris was married, she left him alone. So I was kind of confused on, why would he have to, if you found out that he was still married, whether he was living with his wife or not living with his wife, when you found that he was still married, what did it matter if he was separated and the divorce papers were already filed if you claimed that you left him or you didn't want nothing to do with him as soon as you found out that he was married? So why did he have to why are you talking about that divorce was filed and he was separated if like as soon as you found out he was married, you left him alone? Or is that when you found out that he was married, when he showed you the divorce papers? I was kind of confused about that. That is the problem. And I see that this was the problem with Maurice and Kaya and Kimmy. This was the problem or is the problem with Destiny and Moses and Sunny. It's like nobody really knows when one situation ended and another one began. Because these men want to play around. These men want to straddle the fence. They want to keep the for sure thing, which is like the wife or the steady girlfriend, but they still want to explore other options. And so the girlfriend or the wife is thinking, we're still in this. We're still in a relationship. We may be having some problems. You know how it is when people are married, they break up, they come together, they break up, they come together. Somebody moves out, somebody moves back in. And things get kind of murky, like how it was with Maurice and Kaya and Kimmy. Kaya was like very clear that when Maurice and Kimmy started their thing, she thought that her and Maurice were still working on their relationship because Maurice was probably dipping out on his marriage, talking to other people, talking to Kimmy, and still trying to work things out with Kyle. Like he wanted to keep both fires burning because he wanted to have a for sure thing one way or the other. He was going to be with the new one or he was going to always have, Kaya there. Like, so he kept on like making Kaya, in my opinion, he made Kaya think that, oh, we're still working on our marriage. Let's just take a break for a little while. Let's take a little breather while we work things out. So she still thinks she's in a marriage and they're still working things out. But then he's probably starting something new with Kimmy and telling Kimmy, oh, I'm separated. We've been separated for a year. Kimmy not knowing that within that year of separation, he's probably been still talking to Kaya, making her think that they're working things out. Not necessarily 100% moved in and, you know, taking things back to where they were in their marriage, but probably leading her on, making her think, okay, we haven't resolved our issues. We're still struggling, but I still want to work it out with you, but I need a breather. I need to step back a little bit, but I still, you know, all of this confusion because the men just don't want to completely sever off the old relationship with a divorce, with moving out, completely, you know, taking out all your stuff, every single thing, your toothbrush, everything, take everything out of the marital home. Your divorce is finalized and now you're moving on with somebody else. Nobody wants to do that. They kind of want to, you know, dip and dabble in both relationships. And so the women are like, but we were still together. And then the other woman is like, but you know, you told me you were separated from her. So it's a whole lot of confusion because the men just don't want to, you know, completely cut things off. So Nell talks about how, you know, Chris has shown her divorce papers and he was already separated. And then when she found that he was married, so I don't know what was going on between Chris and Nell. So then she said that so they talk about Nell's birthday party. And she said that in order to keep the peace at her party, she doesn't want no shenanigans at her party. She said that she was going to invite Melody and not Martell. And Martell, you know, in his confessional, he acted like he wasn't hurt. But, you know, he was hurt because Martell is super sensitive. And he doesn't want to be left out of stuff. He wants to be included. And he doesn't want anyone to choose Melody over him. So no matter how he tried to front like he really didn't care, he didn't want to go to no 60-year-old's birthday party anyway. You know, Martell was hurt about that. But I'm glad that Nell decided not to invite the both of them because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. These people are not in a situation in their relationship where they can coexist in one room. It's just not possible. Moving on from there, we have Marceau. So Marceau, he's at Black. And first he meets up with his brother, Maurice. Maurice comes over. They talk about, you know, Moses and Destiny and Sunny and how it's a fiasco. And, you know, they are absolutely loving the fact that the relationship drama is not involving them. Okay. They're loving the fact that someone else is going through it with the fans and the comments and the trolls and all the internet stuff. So Maurice mentioned that Moses did move pretty quickly from Destiny to marrying Sunny. And Marceau says, well, if you know that you found the right one, why in the world would you waste any time? And he said, like, for himself, he proposed to Letitia a month after they met because he knew that she was the right one. Because, yeah, I could kind of imagine how that went down. I felt like when Marceau and Letitia met, Letitia was like super excited to find a man who probably had a little bit of change. And I think that she played up to the kind of woman he wanted, which was a subservient, passive, traditional type of woman who was just going to stay home and take care of the kids and cook and clean for him while he went out and did his own thing for real. And so he was like, wow, she's exactly what I want. You know, she's going to, you know, she wants to please me. She wants to nurture me and take care of me and just have babies and do the domestic thing. And I can still go out and do my own thing. So he knew right away that she was the right one for him. So they talk about the drama. Okay, so Maurice says that, so at some point Moses showed up, right? I think, Moses showed up. And they talk about the whole drama situation. And Maurice says that his break with Destiny should have been more clear and distinct before he began dating Sunny. And Moses claims that it was. Moses claimed that, you know, Destiny knew what it was, that it wasn't working out between them. She wasn't satisfying him. She wasn't, you know, making him a priority. So he makes it seem like Destiny knew what it was. There was nothing really, he wasn't hiding. He wasn't sneaking around. He wasn't cheating because they already had an understanding that the relationship wasn't going to work. So then Maurice compares himself to Moses. And he's like, well, look at me, for example. Me and Kaya, we were separated for a whole year before I began messing with Kimmy. But the people still thought that Kimmy was my side piece. Because Kaya came out and said that y'all were not separated the way you want to make it seem like. Kaya made it seem like her and Maurice were working things out. Yes, they had issues. Maybe somebody moved out, but they were still working on rebuilding their marriage when she found out that he was with Kimmy. And that's, I think, the reason why they think that Kimmy was a side piece. But Maurice wants to make it look like him and Kaya had a clear understanding that the relationship was over. He had moved out. He was gone for a whole year. And that Kaya knew that they were no longer together and there was no hope of reconciliation when he began his relationship with Kimmy. But like I said, Kaya tells a different story. So he was like, you need to make it, you should have done this, you should have done that. And Moses is like defending himself. He was like, well, like I said before, Destiny knew that it wasn't going to work out between us when I moved on. And it wasn't like I went directly from Destiny to Sunny. There was some time in between before so he's trying to defend himself. The Scott brothers are thinking that he's just being very defensive and not heeding to their advice. Marcel talked about how social media was going to completely annihilate Moses and Sunny. And I'm like, who the hell cares what social media says? Like, these people on this show live in the comments. They live on social media. Their whole entire existence is social media and what people are saying, what people are thinking, what people are commenting. And it's like, if you are so sure in who you are and in your relationship, you're not going to be worried about what people are saying on social, because people on social media are going to talk regardless. If Jesus was here, people would talk about Jesus on social media. So if you are secure in what you have and in your relationship, you're not going to be looking in the comments to see what people are saying about your relationship. Like, it's funny to me when these TV stars or TV personalities are all up in the comments looking at what people are saying, because you can never know what the general consensus is. It's because the comments are all saying something different. You got your supporters, you got your haters, you got your trolls, you got your people who are just indifferent, you got your people who are like, who cares, leave them alone, you got your diehard fans. So you don't really know what the consensus is. Everybody's going to say something different because we all have different opinions. And it's just funny to me how they care so much about what's going on social media. So Marcel said he almost lost his marriage because of what people were saying on social media. Then your marriage was weak as hell. Your marriage was weak as hell if you or Letitia or the both of you were caring about what people were saying online. Because when people make these comments, after they hit send or enter, they scroll on to the next video. They don't really give a damn. They don't really care that much. They don't care as much as you think they do. So, and also he said that it almost destroyed their marriage. Like, when, where, and how? Because Marceau and Letitia have always portrayed, especially Marceau, he has always portrayed that he was above social media. He even will criticize Letitia for reading comments and talking about what she read on the show. He would get mad at her for bringing that up on the show. So I don't even know why he's telling Moses, social media is going to destroy you. Those comments are going to destroy you. When he himself claims he doesn't even pay attention to any of that. And he doesn't want his wife to pay attention to any of that. Okay, moving on. So Marceau, so the Scott brothers said that he should get Destiny's approval or her blessing before, get it. Why would he need to get it now? Because him and Sunny are married. Why does Destiny have to approve anything or bless anything that they got going on? The thing that really gets me is that Destiny and Moses were not married. In fact, I thought when this season first started and this drama came out about Destiny's man leaving her for her producer, I thought they were talking about her husband. I thought it was that, because they made it seem so serious. I thought they were talking about Destiny's husband, the father of her child. I think his name is LeBeric or something. So I'm thinking, oh, damn, her husband left her. I forgot his name. So I thought when they were talking about Moses, I'm thinking of, this is Destiny's husband. I forgot that her husband is LeBeric or whatever. So I was like, wow, her husband left her for her producer. That's what I was thinking. But somebody got me all together in the comments and was like, no, that's not her husband. Moses was just her boyfriend or someone that she was dating. So then I was like, so what's the big deal? They could not have been dating that long, because, when we first met Destiny, was she even married at the time? I don't even know if she was married at the time. So she was with LeBerick, right? And then they got married, they had a kid. Then right after her child was born, it seems like they were having issues. And then she got with, okay, so she broke up with LeBerick. Or not broke up, but she divorced her husband. And then she talked about how she was having this long distance relationship with somebody else, which I'm assuming is Moses, because she kept on talking about, her long distance boyfriend, her long distance relationship, but she didn't want to say too much about it. So I'm assuming that this is who she was talking about, Miss Moses. And then they broke up or whatever. Then he's with Sonny. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all weren't even married. And then especially since Destiny claims that, he wasn't that great of a boyfriend, he was lacking, and he claims that she wasn't making him a priority. So what is the problem? Y'all don't want to be with each other anymore. It's not like they were in this relationship where, Destiny was like head over heels in love with this man and wanted to marry this man. Maybe she did, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like, I don't know, because Destiny didn't even really talk about their relationship that much. It's not like, they were like, everything was going so great, so wonderful. They were going to get married and all this other stuff. And all of a sudden he just ups and leaves her for her producer. They were having issues. And it's like they were not happy with one another when he moved on to the producer. So I don't know what the big deal is. But anyways, so they tell him, well, you need to have Destiny's blessing. No, he doesn't. He's already married to Sonny. And what they're trying to say is, if Destiny approves of the relationship, if you can get her to give you the okay, then the media and the internet is not going to come after you as hard. And then Maurice says, so when are y'all planning on having kids? And Moses says, well, we've already started IVF, so she could already be pregnant for all I know, at this very moment, because we've already started doing IVF. These people don't waste no damn time. Moving on to Stormy and Courtney. So they meet up with Trish and Ken at the gym. Stormy she's thinking about possibly doing like a fitness competition. So obviously she's going to use Trish as her trainer. We find out that Trish has been through a lot of tragedy. She has lost her parents. She's lost her sister. And she says that when she lost her sister, which I guess was the most recent tragedy that she's experienced, she said that she found out who her real supporters were. The people that she thought would be there for her during her darkest hour were not there for her. It was the outsiders, or the people that she wasn't really that close with, that really pulled through for her. And one of the people that she thought would be there for her but wasn't was her own husband, whatever his name is. And so she talked about that, how, that really told her a lot, because she told Destiny, you think you really know someone. You really think that this person that you've given your life to, your heart to, that they're going to be there for you no matter what. But then when you go through something really, really, really tragic, you realize that they're not there for you at all. So she talks about that. And because of all the tragedy that she's been through and being let down by the one that she thought would support her the most, which was her husband, she entered this relationship with Ken. And she was like still a very much broken down woman when she entered this relationship with Ken. She was still very angry because of losing her family members and, finding out that her husband wasn't that great of a man, or he wasn't who she thought he was. So she came into this new relationship with Ken with a lot of baggage, a lot of anger, a lot of unresolved issues. And so she was really difficult in the beginning. And she said that Ken had the patience to deal with her. Like, he allowed her to do whatever she needed to do to get all the anger out. And he was patient with her, and he stood by her side. And so then Stormy was like, if this is such a great relationship, girl, when are y'all getting married? And then Trish is like, well, we've got a few hurdles to get over, such as what, Trish? The fact that you're still married? So Trish, we find out, is still married. They haven't gotten a divorce. And I'm like, this whole time that you've been on so far on this show, Trish, you talked about how this man was horrible to you and, blah, 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 blah. But they haven't even signed the papers yet for the divorce. And I'm pretty sure there's things to work out, like custody, visitation, maybe even some finances to iron out. But I really thought this woman was like ready, because her and Ken were even talking about getting married. And who they were going to invite to their wedding and how big their wedding was going to be. But Trish is not even divorced yet. I'm not faulting her for that. I don't think she's doing anything wrong, because sometimes divorces will take a very long time, and you can't put your life on hold while you're waiting for these issues to be ironed out, because it could take years. So I get that. I understand that. But I really thought that she was already divorced, the way she talked about that man. And then Ken says in their confessional, he's like, well, I'm in a similar situation too, because I was still living with my ex when me and her met. I was like, what? Here we go. Here we go again with the men trying to like play both sides, or try to keep two women, try to juggle two women, because they want to see which one is going to be, which one they're going to choose as, you know, as their forever woman or whatever. So he said he was still living with his ex, but he was talking to Trish. And he made it seem like he was living with the ex, but they were no longer in a romantic relationship, which I'm pretty sure if the ex comes out, which I hope that she doesn't, because we don't need this to get any messier than it is. But if the ex decides to come up and pop up either on the show or on social media and give her side of the story, I'm pretty sure she's going to tell a completely different story. Like, why are you still living with someone when you're starting something with somebody else, especially when you're not even married to her? Why didn't you just break up with her? If you felt like, oh, it's not working out, we need to move on. Why didn't you just break up before you began a new relationship with Trish? So him comparing himself to what Trish has, to me, is totally different. Because with Trish, you know, it takes time for divorces to be finalized. You know, I understand that they got kids together. I understand. But he wasn't even married to his ex. There was no divorce to iron out. So why were you still living with one woman and starting a new relationship with Trish? People love to stay in the gray, murky waters. Moving on to Martell. So Martell is at his investment property, and he meets Chris up there. So Chris tells Martell that you owe my wife, Nell, an apology because you called her a side chick. And Martell stood 10 toes down. He was like, she was your side chick because you were still married. And he was like, no, I was separated. Here we go. I was separated, and my divorce had already been filed when I met Nell. So she was no damn side chick. And so Martell finally relented, and he was like, okay, she wasn't your side chick. Martell is like, and look, I'm not necessarily faulting him for this, but Martell wants to make it known that every single man on this show is cheating on their wives. He ain't the only one. He wants to take everybody down with them, including Chris. And I'm like, what did Chris ever do to you, Martell? But anyways, so Martell, so they talk about the damn video, and Chris was like, you know, it was brought to my attention, you know, that the reason why Melody had issued that arrest warrant for you, or she filed charges against you, because it wasn't just a simple text that she was mad about 2 years ago. It was because you were trying to disseminate revenge porn against her. You know, because Martell had everybody thinking, oh, I sent her a text that she didn't like, and now she wants to put me in jail. And people were feeling sorry for him. But now when Melody finally came out with the details of what really went down, everybody's seeing him in a completely different light. And so Chris was like, it wasn't just a text. He wanted to release a video, an intimate video of the two of you together. And Martell was like, it was no video. There's no video. And so Chris was like, okay, maybe it was a picture or a screenshot of the video. And so Martell was like, yeah, it was just a picture. And then Chris was like, okay, and it was of you and her in an intimate moment. Were y'all naked? And Martell was like, no, nobody was naked in the picture. Like, he's really trying to make it look like the picture was no big deal. It was really innocent. It wasn't what people are trying to portray it out to be. Once again, you know, he's like lying because he seemed really uncomfortable. And I'm thinking, so Chris was like, so you're saying that it was an innocent picture, everybody had their clothes on, and it was just a picture, it wasn't a video, and it wasn't an intimate of anything, and for whatever reason, Melody just woke up one day and she was like, you know what, I'm gonna file criminal charges against Martell and try to get him in jail, just out of nowhere, out of the blue, without any evidence, without any proof, without nothing. And Martell is like, yeah, basically. No, he tells him, why don't you ask Melody? And so Chris was like, well, can I see the picture? And he was like, no, ask Melody for the picture because I deleted it. Why would you delete it, Martell? If you're claiming that this picture was so innocent and that she's making a big deal about nothing, why wouldn't you keep that as evidence to defend yourself with? As in, this is what I sent her. Do you see how innocent it is? It's just me and her at the park chilling. You know, this is the video that she wanted to put me in jail for. This is the picture that she wanted to put me in jail for. Why would you delete it? If you're claiming that what you're saying is true and it was all innocent and she's just a really vengeful, hateful woman, you should keep that to defend yourself. But you deleted it because you know that you're lying. You probably deleted it because you don't want to be caught with that on your phone. The revenge porn that you wanted to release on her, which was probably a video of you and her in a very intimate moment. You went ahead and you just deleted it because you don't want it anymore on your phone. But, you're an idiot. You don't understand that there's no such thing as deleting anything electronically, okay? It gets sent to the cloud, in the trash bin that's in the clouds or whatever. It's there. It will always be there. It won't take much for a second grader to pull it. So moving on from there. So he tries to make it look like, oh, it's no big deal. She's just doing this out because she's spiteful and there was no video. And he talks about, so Chris asks the same thing Nell asked, like, what is it going to take for y'all to stop with this hate against one another? And he says she needs to stop bullying me. It's always Melody's fault. You're so innocent. You're always the victim. It's always Melody's fault. Martell is such a man-child. I believe Melody 1,001%. I believe Melody. So on a side note, I read up to see like what's been going on with this criminal case. And Martell was convicted. He was convicted of domestic violence and harassing communication. He got a 30-day suspended jail sentence. He was ordered to stop all communications with Mel. He was fined at least $500, and he was ordered to get psychiatric evaluation, which is, I've been saying that since the beginning. He needs to be evaluated, seriously evaluated. Moving on from there, Destiny. She meets up with Moses. So they meet up at this restaurant, her and Moses. Moses says that after talking to the Scott brothers, he really wanted to, basically what he wants to do, he wants to protect Sonny's reputation because he wants to prove that him and Destiny were completely over with when he and Sonny began their relationship. And so he's meeting up with Destiny. I don't know why he would think that Destiny would support or agree with anything that he's saying, with his version of how things went down. Because when they began talking about it, they talked about how, it was like obviously very murky, very gray, as far as when the relationship ended and when he began talking to Sonny. He said it ended in April. He says, you knew what it was in April. And she said, so why would you send me money in August? You were loving me all the way to August. Like, were y'all in a relationship up until August? Is that what you're saying, Destiny? Or because he still cared for you, because, y'all were in a relationship and he still cared for you and you came to him and you needed money. He was like, okay, I'll send you money. No big deal. But y'all were maybe broken up at that time. I don't know. Nobody really knows, like I said, because these men want to keep all these flames burning at the same damn time so that they can guarantee a woman will be waiting for them somewhere. So I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's just as murky as it seems. I'm pretty sure that maybe Destiny thought that they were still together. I don't know, y'all. I have no idea because nobody wants to be honest or truthful or anything or whatever. Nobody wants to be honest about anything. So we will never know. The point is, you didn't want him. You don't want him now. You didn't want him then. He didn't want to be with you. He moved on. The issue now really, truly is, were you betrayed by a friend? That's the real issue. And your girl, Sonny, is saying we were not friends like that. You're saying that y'all are BFFs until the very, very end. You would have died for Sonny. Sonny would have died for you. And Sonny's like, we were just co-workers. And that's it. So I don't know, y'all. I really don't know. But Destiny, look, you don't want to be with him. He don't want to be with you. You don't like Sonny. Sonny don't like you. Just move on. Just let it go. Let them, if they're cheaters, let those cheaters, find out once and for all when they start cheating on each other. Let them do their thing and you just move on and you just go achieve your dreams and do bigger and better things. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it when you do spend your time with me. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. And please rate the video before you leave. And if you like this content, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.